Welcome to Stories Without Borders, the podcast. I'm your host, Holland. Here we interview people who use the power of stories in service to promote connection, empathy, and understanding around the world. You can learn more online at storieswithoutborders.org or follow us on Instagram and YouTube at stories_without-borders. Thanks for listening. Here's today's episode. Today, we are speaking with Nicola Yoon. Nicola Yoon is the #1 New York Times bestselling author of Instructions for Dancing, Everything, Everything. The Sun is Also a Star, One of Our Kind, and a co-author of Blackout and Whiteout, among other anthologies. She is a National Book Award finalist, a Michael L. Prince Honor Book recipient, a Coretta Scott King New Talent Award winner, and the first Black woman to hit #1 on the New York Times Young Adult bestseller list. 2 of her novels have been made into major motion pictures. She's also the co-publisher of Joy Revolution, a Random House young adult imprint dedicated to love stories starring people of color. She grew up in Jamaica and Brooklyn and lives in Los Angeles with her husband, novelist David Yoon, and their daughter. So I'm so honored and so excited to have you on this podcast, Nicola. I've been a huge fan of your books for such a long time, and I'm just so glad and grateful to have the chance to interview you today.
You are the sweetest. Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Awesome. And let's begin by discussing your author journey and your experience. Specifically, were there any moments or instances in your life that inspired you or sparked the idea of becoming an author for you?
I think, when you think about this stuff, you realize in hindsight how many different instances led you to a place. I think the thing that I always sort of talk about, the one that did it the most, was I went to school for electrical engineering, so that was my major. And I always say that math led me astray because I was really good at math in high school, and then that led me to electrical engineering. But in my senior year at college, they make you take a class outside of your major. And I was like, oh, my major has been so hard because it's just basically math. And I was like, I'll take creative writing because it'll be easy. And I was really obnoxious. I was like, how hard could it be? And then I got into the class and it was super hard. It was
Really?
the hardest class I ever took.
Even harder than like physics and engineering.
I
and all
mean,
that
because
stuff?
because you care so much and you have to be so vulnerable and you have to put yourself out. Like you're reading your stories out to a class of people who are absolutely going to judge you, right? So it's like very difficult. At the time I had this crush on a boy. I was like suffering through unrequited love with this boy. Just did not love me at all, right?
Wow.
So I wrote like all of this stuff. Like I wrote bad poetry about this kid. I wrote like a bad one-act play. I wrote bad short stories. My professor, like at one of our one-on-one meetings, she said, A, you're going to get over this boy one day, but B, you have potential. She really liked my writing. And she was right. I did get over the boy, but then I was sucked into writing. So it's a thing that just sort of was like, oh, this is amazing. And then that led me to graduate school, which is actually where I met my husband. So love came eventually.
So Everything, Everything is your debut novel that was published in 2015, and it's about Maddie, who's a teenager with a rare disease that basically limits her to the confines of her own house because she's allergic to the rest of the world. And then when the boy named Ollie moves next door, like everything changes and there's like romance, there's like secrets being revealed. It's a very fun and warm book. And so I'm wondering, as we're speaking, it's been almost a little after 10 years since the publication date. How have you progressed since writing this book?
Oh, God. It's so funny because you realize that you are a different person, like through every book.
Right.
I don't know that I could write everything now because it has been 10 years and you really do change as you grow, right? Like the person who wrote that book doesn't exist anymore. So that's kind of amazing. And I kind of liked her. She's nice, but I like me too now, right? But it does feel like a different person. I had just given birth. I think Penny was 3 months old when I started writing that book. So I was a brand new mom and like a nervous mom, just like a freak of nature. Like I was afraid of everything because kids are so precious and delicate and you're like, oh my God. And I'm less like that now. Like now I'm like, she's fine. Like we managed to keep her alive for 10 years. We're doing all right. Or for 13 years. So I've learned a lot. Like I hopefully I've grown as a writer. I think that I have. I've learned a lot about publication and sort of being a more public person. That's been interesting because it's weird to go from being private to being, like I was on Seth Meyers, I think last year,
Right.
or maybe the year before. And it's a strange adjustment to make. So there's some differences. I've learned some things.
Now, you mentioned being like a new mom when writing the book. Would you say that was sort of some experiences and the feelings around that? Was that what sort of influenced the mom character in everything? Or
Yeah. I mean, the inspiration for that book is, there are a couple of things. So when I started writing that book, I was working in finance.
Right.
I was working on a trading desk, and basically my job was to get yelled at by very wealthy people, like wealthy dudes on a daily basis.
That does not sound fun.
It was a terrible job. Like, I cannot express to you how bad this job was. And so, there was a moment when I was actually holding Penny, and she was tiny. And I was doing like sort of that parent mom thing, which is like you're just wishing the best for them, right? Like,
Right.
you want her to grow up and to have a passion and to, sort of be in the world and love the world and have the world love her back. And I just had a moment when I was thinking, God, I'm not pursuing my passion at all, because what I wanted to do was be a writer. But I didn't actually think there was a way to make a living as a writer.
Right.
Like, I grew up fairly poor, so all I wanted when I graduated from college was stability. And I was like, I need healthcare. I need a house. Like, I didn't want to take any chances. And so I was holding her and thinking, I want her to be passionate, and I'm not doing the thing that I want for her. And then I had the idea, because the way you are with a young child is you're very, very protective.
Right.
And I was the mom that thought that she's going to crawl out of my house and eat dirt and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, what if I had to take care of like her the same way I take care of her as an infant when she's 17? Like, what if I had to be that
Right.
protective? And then I thought, well, what if there was a girl who actually needed that? And that's where everything was born from. That's the inspiration for that story. It was really just my nervousness of being a new mom.
That's really, you can totally see that sort of raw emotion implemented throughout the novel. And the truth is, I don't want to spoil anything for listeners who haven't read it, but the truth is, like, I think at the end, even though the mother has done some crazy things, I think you can, at the end of the novel, understand to a certain extent where she's coming from. And I think that's...
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I've had some very strong reactions over the years. But my favorite actually are when moms and daughters read it together, because I think they do. My favorite letter I ever got was this daughter who had read it and showed it to her mom, and then they had this big discussion after, and it said it made them closer. And I just thought that was the sweetest thing.
So beautiful.
Yeah, it was great.
And Everything is one of the books that have been made into a movie adaptation. And I'm curious, it stars Amanda Stenberg and Nick Robinson.
Yeah.
And were you a part of the creative process at all? I know you had a cameo in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, what was your role in the adaptation of the movie?
Yeah. So I did get to give notes on the script. So like usually when you sell your stuff, you don't have any say at all, right? Like, you really do sell the rights to it. And so like they could have set the movie in space and I would have no say. But Warner Brothers was actually very generous, and so I did give notes on the script, and sometimes they took the notes and sometimes they didn't.
Right.
And then I got to go to set and see it being filmed, and then we got to do a cameo. So like David, Penny, and I are in the movie, like on the beach for maybe 3 seconds.
That's so
But it's like,
cool.
it's so great. It was really, really fun to get to do it. I mean, it was a surreal, like, amazing experience. Like the first time we went to set, it was at an airport for the scene where they fly to Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like a real working airport. They took over like one section, and there were hundreds of people. And I just remember being amazed that like this little book I had written had like employed so many people for a time. Like, I was really proud of that. And then they were filming a scene when the actors are talking. And when they started saying the words that I had written, I burst into tears. I just started bawling my little eyes out, and Penny was so tiny. And she was like, why is Mama crying? And David was there, and he was like, oh, those are tears of joy, honey. And it really was. And it's like a thing we still say to this day, like, oh, those are tears of joy, honey. So it was really, really great.
I've heard a lot of other writers say that writing a book, writing a novel itself can be a very solitary process, and making a movie is not.
Yeah.
Was there like any sort of differences? Did you notice the differences? What did you think about like writing a book versus being on set for a movie?
Yeah, I mean, so many things have to go right to make a good movie.
Yeah.
Like there's so many other moving parts, right? Like a part of it is just luck too, because like you have to have just scheduling, like the people together, and then you got to get the right music, and you have to have the editors, and like the weather has to cooperate, and there's just so much stuff. I mean, so in that way, like I don't think I could ever be involved with the movies because I like too much control. Like,
Yeah.
I like to be in my office writing the book and like being in charge of it.
Right.
I would never give up my job for like the movies.
Yeah.
But it's really beautiful to see more art made of the characters that I love.
Yeah.
Right. So I love Maddie and Ollie, and like everything movie is just more art about them.
Yeah.
Like it's not the same story; it's a different story, but it's great because they get to live on in a different way.
It's really beautiful. Your second novel, The Sun is Also a Star, is a YA romance novel that stars Jamaican-American science lover Natasha and Korean-American poet Daniel. And they meet and fall in love on this one fateful day where Natasha unfortunately faces the threat of deportation. And I've heard you say previously that this novel takes inspiration from your own relationship with your husband, David. And so I'm wondering, was there any sort of, what was like the balance for you from drawing from your real life experiences in this relationship versus creating this story? Drawing from your experiences made the story easier to tell or harder to tell?
Yeah, it's a really great question. Actually, when we were on the set for this film, one of the executives said, "It's such an honor to tell your story," and I was like, I made this up, right? It is, in fact, fiction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of the conversations that Natasha and Daniel have, David and I have had.
Wow.
And so we're very, like, we're so annoying, though, honestly. Like, we're those people, like, when you're at dinner or whatever, you're just having a casual conversation. We're like, oh, but what about this? And then we would like to go really deep and philosophical when you're just
I
trying
love
to have.
that.
No, we're so annoying.
Then I guess I'm annoying too because I always do that.
And we're annoying with each other. Sometimes I'm just like, honey, can we just talk about the weather? Like, it doesn't have to be deep all the time. But anyway, a lot of those conversations are kind of in the book. There's a scene when Natasha and Daniel are on the roof, and I think they're talking about the meaning of life and God and whatever, and David and I do this all the time. So in that way, there's a lot of us in there. But, that's it. Like, I wasn't almost deported.
Right. Right.
I am Jamaican American, and a lot of the cultural stuff on the Korean American side,
Right.
it comes from our lives too, because David and I have been married for 20-something years, and I go shopping at the Korean grocery store, and like I know what I'm doing, and like I can talk to my mother-in-law, and so like a lot of that sort of cultural texture is from my real life too, just because I've experienced it and sort of lived with it. Is it easier or harder? In some ways, it's easier, like because I had so much to draw from, but in some ways, it's harder because real life and fiction are not the same thing. And so what's something that's interesting in real life is not actually interested in fiction.
Right.
And so you have to like make sure you're shaping it still, right? And actually making a thing that comes across that feels real, but isn't actually, because if you try to translate a conversation that you just overhear at Starbucks, it's boring.
Yeah.
Right? You have to craft it.
Yeah.
And so in that way, it's a little more tricky.
I'm also a writer as well, so when I try to write like just an everyday scene and just trying to get that mundaneness, prosaicness across, it's really boring to write, and it really doesn't translate well onto the page, versus in real life you would think, oh, that's interesting. And it's really interesting that you put that into words. It's great because I think that encapsulates how a lot of writers, including me, feel, because what was your strategy for like making those everyday moments interesting?
Yeah, I mean, it's just craft, right?
Right.
Like eventually you get to realize like what I can cut out, like all those hesitation noises that people make in conversation,
Right.
not actually interesting fiction. And there's the thing that people say and then the thing that people mean, and those are not the same. And very often, like say you're sitting in Starbucks and you'll see people saying things, but just like watch their body language instead, right? Because you can see like when people are folding their arms or clenching their fist or leaning in or backing up, and they're saying a lot actually with their gestures. And so that's the thing that I think is really interesting. And it's like the play between the two that feels more real. because you can see that they're thinking one thing and saying a different thing. People give a lot away, actually, that they don't necessarily know that they're giving away.
Yeah.
And I'm a people watcher. Like, I love watching people.
Me
like,
too.
Yeah. So if you're like in the Starbucks and you're arguing with someone, like, are you watching them argue? Like, and leaning in, trying to listen? Because that's what I'm doing.
I mean, sometimes I am. Like, sometimes I'm just like, I feel bad, but like, what is going on over there?
Yeah.
Or
I don't feel bad at all.
I also think one of the great things about writing is that it's so internal because you have a perspective. Like it's either like the narrator or a lot of times it's in the first person. And so you can really just get to explore all the thoughts and spirals and moments that are internal and in your mind that in real life you wouldn't really be able to explore. You wouldn't be able to say, like, my mind was racing at 1,000 miles per hour.
Yeah. It's really nice to just be, I mean, it feels like play sometimes, right? Like you just get to be curious about other people and in their lives. You know, I always say that like books are like empathy machines. And in a way, that's part of the craft, right? Because you have to be able to be in someone else's brain to sort of write about them or try to be. Like you're never going to get it 100% right. But I also don't think you have to in order to inspire emotion, in order to like write truth.
Right.
Like, you just have to be curious, genuinely curious about someone else and their experience.
So The Sun Is Also a Star was also adapted into a film that stars Yara Shahidi and Charles Melton. And I'm wondering, what were some of the similarities and differences between the filming process for you for Everything, and The Sun Is Also a Star?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was more similar than different.
Right.
Except for they filmed in New York City. And so we got to go to New York, which is crazy. Filming in New York City is crazy. So it's just a lot of moving parts. It was fun to get to see the production. And then we got to hang out with Yara Shahidi and Charles Melton. And Charles Melton is genuinely hilarious. Also very good looking, like extraordinarily attractive. And there's meeting both of them. They're so attractive that it's kind of hard. They're kind of hard to look at. Do you know what I mean? Like
I get that. Yeah.
Like we met them and we're like, how do you look like this? What is happening? It's bizarre. And there was like a moment on set, I swear to God, where Charles Melton is like wearing this T-shirt and it has this little rip in it and it's hot. And he rips the T-shirt off. I'm so sorry. The story cracks me up every time I tell it, but he like rips the T-shirt and just takes it off, and everyone is just like, "What is happening right now?" It's so funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and then we filmed the scene at JFK towards the end, and they had to do a lot of takes. And I just remember watching the actors cry in command, like over and over and over again. And I was just like, I could never do this, but they were so brilliant. It was really lovely to see. Because it really is art, like acting, obviously. But it's really great just to watch them.
I think the interesting thing about acting is you still have to convey what's happening on the inside, but you have to act it. You can't say it like you would on the page.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, watching people act is, because again, I'm also a people watcher. I think watching people act and watching them mimic the body language is so interesting.
Yeah, and just do it over and over again. Yeah, like they have to draw on something, right?
I wonder. I mean, sometimes I've heard some actors be like, well, I can't draw on anything because that actually hinders my process. And then some other people are like, well, no, that actually helps my process. It's interesting to see how every person is different.
I mean, I think the thing that sort of unites like all the arts is just an interest in humanity and like conveying a truth. So wherever you get it from, just to be able to portray it and convey it it's remarkable.
I've never really thought about it that way, an interest in humanity, but the more I think about it, like the more it's true, because I mean, what is art if not just exploring humanity?
Right. I mean, you're trying to illuminate something, right? You're trying to say, here are all the common experiences and here are all the ways that we're different, and here's what's true. I mean, I really do think the whole job of a writer is to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And to show us that we're, all in this together, right? I mean, even if we're writing about terrible people, we're trying to say, well, you can get from here to there, right? And this is how. And, even if it's just a warning, but it's all trying to get at something.
Yeah, and I think it's telling the truth, but it's also telling the character's truth at the end of the day, because you're in the character's perspective. And even though the character might be like a crappy person, a really terrible person, they still have their own story that they need to tell and that they should get to tell? Question mark.
Yeah, it's funny because you're getting at something that I think there's a debate, like sort of more recently in the last 5 years or so, about who gets to tell a story and when and whose story you tell.
Right.
And fiction is interested in people, like even the bad ones,
Yeah.
right? And you get to tell their stories because that is how we know. That is like, in dictatorships, they stop the arts first. They jail the novelists first because they're the ones that are telling the truth. They're the ones that are saying, this is the thing that we should be fighting against. And these are the people. And this is how you get from being a normal person to being someone that's complicit.
Right.
And therefore, we have to be able to look at even the bad people and tell their stories, right? Fiction is interested in people and their stories and how they get to be. And so there's this movement that sort of says you can't tell stories about the villains, but that's a mistake, right? If we don't tell those stories, we are going to be trapped. We're going to have the villains in real life.
There was a video that I had watched in 7th grade, and it talked about, I think her last name was Adichie, and she talked about the danger.
Chimamanda Adichie.
Yeah, and she talked about the danger of a single story.
Yes, yeah.
And I remember watching that video in 7th grade, and I just remember being so blown away because the truth is, the single story, it's going to paint one person as the hero and one person as the villain. And if you don't have multiple stories, then you sort of get one narrative that may or may not be true.
Yeah, right. It's true. I mean, that I think she did a lecture about it or something, this dangerous single story. And it's really very influential. And she's absolutely true. It's absolutely true that you need multiple stories. Like if we're talking about sort of stories by Black women or Black people, like stories have been, what happens is if only one person writes a story, then there's a lot of pressure on the characters in that story to represent everything for everyone, right? And obviously one book cannot represent every Black person that ever existed in the world and shouldn't, right?
No.
And so the danger of a single story is that it's too much pressure. You need many, many more stories about people, right? In order to paint a portrait of a culture.
Exactly.
And still, you're only painting a portrait of a culture, right? We're talking about individual people, right? People are everyone is different.
No one person is going to be like a spokesperson for
and representative.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's when you're fighting for sort of equality in publishing or any type of media, what you're fighting for is to be an individual, is to be able to be represented as a person and not just a group or a stereotype. Yeah.
Instructions for Dancing is your third novel, and it's a beautiful, heartfelt book. I think I was crying at the end of it. It was so sad and so beautiful.
Thank you.
And it explores themes of love and loss and grief. And it also dabbles in magical realism because the main character, Evie, has the ability to just sort of see the progression of a romantic relationship. And I just thought that was so cool how it was sort of interwoven with real life, and then also it dabbled in magic, which I love because I'm a sucker for fantasy.
Are you? Yeah.
I love fantasy. And I'm curious, how did this idea for Evie's power come to you, and what was it like in general trying to craft it into the story?
So I wrote 2 books, and they both got turned into movies, right? So that's fairly successful. And then I wrote my mom got sick, and she had cancer.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like we were not sure she was going to survive. It was like a disaster, right? So, and it was years of this. And so during that time, I had a contract for a book, and I wrote a book, and the book failed. I never published it. I wrote it for so long, and I revised it for so long, and it just it had no hope in it. It had it was just despair.
Right.
I was suffering. I was basically in the hospital for 3 years straight, and it was a bad book.
I'm so sorry.
No, I know, it's okay. I'm gonna get to a hopeful place with the story.
Yeah.
And so I put that book aside and started another one. That one became Instructions for Dancing. And I wrote a lot of it actually at my mom's bedside, or in a waiting room at Cedars-Sinai. I spent so much time at Cedars. And this one had more hope in it. But the origin of that story is, so Evie, she is a romantic at the beginning of the book.
Right.
Or she's changing from a romantic into more of a cynic because her favorite couple in the world, her parents, have gotten divorced.
Right.
And it's because her dad has had an affair. And so she sort of it's shattered her illusions of the world. It's shattered her illusions about love. And then she gets this mysterious power. Whenever she sees a couple kiss, she sees their entire life, right? So she sees the beginning of their relationship and like the happy middle and then the inevitable breakup. And what she
Yeah.
takes from this is like, love sucks. It always ends. And the reason I wanted to write about that is because being in the hospital with my mom and like thinking that she was going to die, and I love her so much. And I was like, why do we do this to ourselves? Like,
Yeah.
love is great and everything, but also it's just terrible.
I know.
I mean, it really is just a disaster, right? Like, how much pain it can cause and how vulnerable it makes you. And so that is what I was thinking about when I was writing the book. I was like, well, Evie she needs to go through this, right? She needs to understand that love ends and then decide, well, is it worth it? Like, are you going to choose this thing when you know, something's going to happen,
Right.
Like death is final, right? So that's the inspiration for that book is actually just my mom. And my mom is fine now. Like she's totally, it's like years later, like miraculously, she's totally fine.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is. Thank God.
Yeah. Let's discuss One of Our Kind, which is your very first adult novel. And if I do say so myself, it was one of the most disturbing and insane, but also incredible books I have read. And I remember I was like flipping through page after page and I was like, whoa.
I know.
It was
I know.
it was great. I loved
Thank
it.
you.
I've heard you speak about just the creation of the book and some of the ideas you had, including a friend asking you, who would we be if it weren't for racism? And you've also mentioned that you were also inspired by an episode of You're Wrong about the Stepford Wives.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, is there any other pieces of media that inspired One of Our Kind and its creation?
That book is so much of like what I've been thinking about for
Yeah.
years, especially like when it comes to race and racism.
Absolutely.
There's so many things, right? There's not just like fiction, but there's like the state of America, the state of like police killings in America, and the state of like, walking into a room and being immediately judged by like the color of your skin or
Right.
the assumptions people make about you. The state of the world where there's just so much information and so many things to care about all the time, and you can't actually care about all of it. And what that does to a person, like when you're sort of just being bombarded with so much negativity and so much, like just the news, right?
Right.
Like, I think everyone's a reasonably good person, but you literally can't fix the world. Like, you cannot fix everything. And some people react well to that, and they find a cause, and some people fall apart, right? And the book is a little bit about that too. It's some fiction, but it really is the state of the world. Jasmine in that book she's a helper. She's a public defender. She takes care of people, but she's also kind of a pain. She's very cynical.
Yeah.
She's very judgmental. And she can't see the forest for the trees, right? Like she
Right.
is really sort of, but she's also a victim, right? Because the world has put her in this position where she cannot see everything in front of her. She can't even see the thing closest to her, like the most dangerous thing, right? And I think that if you're in a world where things are you're being judged and you're judging, and so many things are going wrong all the time, you're trapped, and
Right.
you don't know what to do. That's a long way of saying it's inspired by many, many things.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of times you have this story inside of you and it's come from your life
Yeah.
in general and you just don't know what it needs to be until, you actually write it. It's like, this is what I've been needing to write. This is what all the experiences have been.
Yeah, building up to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I wrote that book in 6 weeks, the first draft.
Wow.
Which, listen to me, when I say this will never happen again, it had never happened before, it will never happen again. But I was really compelled. I just could not. I'd read The Stepford Wives, and I think people misremember that book a lot because people use that term, she's such a Stepford wife, as a pejorative.
Right.
But actually, the book is very, very feminist, and it really is about the men who want their women to be subservient and to be the same.
Right.
And it's a fiercely feminist book, but I think that the culture sort of misremembers it. And the first time I read it, I was so inspired by just the way Ira Levin told the story and the way like it sort of sucks you in and you're just not really sure who to trust.
Right.
And which I think is a function of a world that's kind of broken, right? Like a world that says, in this case, tells Black people, you have to be this. And you're being told it by sort of the larger white world, and you're also being told by your own people who you're supposed to be. And it's just everywhere all at once.
Right.
In the Stepford Wives, that was the same for women, right? Women were telling women how to be, and the men are telling women how to be, and you're trapped when that's happening to you. And the book is really about what happens when you feel trapped. Like what happens when your freedom is to be a person, an individual, is taken away. And so I was really inspired by that book. Just like it's a really remarkable book.
I'm really interested in reading it.
Yeah, I know if you like mine, you'll love that.
Yeah, I will. I'm so excited. And One of Our Kind is definitely more of an adult novel, and you've previously dabbled more in like YA and romance and more books geared towards like younger audiences.
Yeah.
And what was the process like writing an adult novel for the first time, or have you written other drafts of adult novels that weren't published? Or
There's an adult novel that will never be published, that it's in my drawer. Maybe one day, I'm not a good enough writer yet to write that book.
Right.
But maybe one day I'll come back to it. I think for my young adult books, I think I tend to put more hope into them. Just because
Absolutely.
you're younger and you have your whole life ahead of you. Right?
Yeah.
And then there's just practical stuff like, usually young people are not married. They usually don't have children, right? There's just the practical matter of being a grown up, or older. But yeah, especially One of Our Kind, it's a little, not to give anything away, but it's kind of bleak.
Yeah.
It is a tragedy. I think I say that in the acknowledgement that this book is a tragedy. And so that is different. I do think that I try to put more hope and more answers into the young adult books.
Right.
Every time I write a book, it starts from a question. And in the young adult ones, I try to answer it or at least gesture in a direction. But One of Our Kind is just a bunch of questions. I don't have the answer to any of it, and I just am asking. And so I think that's the difference.
Wow. That's really beautifully said. And I think a lot of times that's the truth about life, because the truth is in life, you're going to have more questions and you're not going to get the answers to the questions most of the time. And you have to create your own answer.
Yeah. My little girl, she's 13. She's very emo. And she's very angsty. And she was talking the other day, she was talking about the meaning of life. And she's like, well, there is no meaning to life. And I was like, well, she is my child, so she's definitely full of angst. And then I said, well, honey, that's the whole point is you have to make meaning, right? The meaning is the space between us. It's all the love, and it's the way you love art. It's the things you create. You have to make the meaning. But you have to ask the questions too, right? Otherwise, you're not gonna make anything. No one wants to be a nihilist. We're not.
No,
it's terrible. Nihilism sucks. So it is asking questions to make something.
In addition to writing many novels, you've also contributed to many anthologies, including Fresh Ink, Meet Cute, Hope Nation, Because You Love to Hate Me, and Blackout and Whiteout. I'd love to talk about Blackout and Whiteout specifically because it's a New York Times bestselling duology set during a power outage and a snowstorm, respectively. And if I recall correctly, it is a collaboration among 6 authors and features interconnected stories that talk about Black love. And I just thought that was so interesting because it's interconnected, but it's also it's different stories at the same time. And with such a big group of authors writing so many interesting and impactful stories, how did you approach the collaboration process and the structure of the story?
Oh, that's a good question. And let me tell you, 6 authors is a lot, right?
Right.
But we wrote Blackout during the pandemic. So we were all stuck at home anyway.
Right.
And it was Danielle Clayton's idea to do this thing. She's like, we need some joy. We're all trapped at home. And let's write this joyful set of stories. And it's set in a blackout in New York City. And basically you have 6 couples trying to get to a party. And so they're traversing the entire city trying to get to this party during a blackout. And some of them have been together and broke up and need to get back together. Some people are just meeting. So it's just 6 love stories taking place on this journey. And we just wanted to write something joyful, especially during the pandemic and the summer of 2020. We really just wanted something purely happy. In terms of like the technical stuff, it actually wasn't as hard as you think it is.
Really?
Like, because Danielle is such a good organizer, and she had, she assigned us each tropes, like, enemies to lovers or friends to lovers, or like, second chance romance. And then we just wrote our stories, and then we just read it over and then strengthened the connections.
Wow.
And we just it was an iterative process. And the same thing on Whiteout. We just like wrote our individual stories and then wove them together closely. So in this case, an outline and a structure was really, really important. So sometimes you write a book and, you're just like seeing where it goes. But if you're dealing with 6 authors, there's no seeing where it goes. There's just like, let's get an outline together. And then we have Breakout coming out next summer. And this one's a thriller.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's like 6 rich, I can't even remember, a bunch of rich kids at a resort, and there's murder.
Oh, that's exciting.
Very, very rich, very, very murderous. And that one is more, it's not interconnected story, it's totally a novel, right? So that was a pain, let me tell you, but it worked out in the end. So we'll see how that one does. There's a lot of blood.
Ooh, I'm excited to read it. What would you say are some of the similarities and differences between writing like an actual novel versus like a shorter piece for an anthology?
I just turned in my next novel, and I also turned in a short story. And I swear to God, the short story was harder. I don't know why.
I mean, I think the truth is, I think a lot of actually novel writers struggle with like children's picture books because it fits so much on so little space.
Yes. And you have to think visually, right? Like there's a lot of, like my husband is an artist too, and he thinks visually, right? So he will look at something and like see a whole world, right? And I won't see the same thing because of I think in monologue and dialogue. I swear to God. And so I think it's a little bit different. Like I find short stories really challenging because I don't have enough space to say all the things or like build all the stuff that I'm going to pay off in Act 3. There's just not enough space to do all that. So I actually find it really hard. But short stories can just be hangout stories. Like it can just be a hangout, but I don't like a hangout story. Like I like a plot.
Yeah.
So I find it very difficult to write a short story. But a good short story is great because it's like an extended poem, right?
Right.
And I do think it's a different form. It's very rare that you have a novelist that's a good short story writer too. I think George Saunders is brilliant, like because he can do both. But I don't think I'm brilliant because I can write a book. I find short stories hard.
I'd love to talk about Joy Revolution, your incredible publishing company that's a Random House imprint that you co-founded with your husband, David Yoon, and it launched in 2020. Yeah. And the goal of Joy Revolution is to publish young adult romances that feature people of color and are written by people of color as well. And what inspired you and your husband to create Joy Revolution?
Yes, I love talking about Joy Revolution, so you're going to have to shut me up.
No, I'm not going to shut you up.
You're going to have to tell me to stop. So David and I actually met in graduate school, and we were both big romantic goobers. Like we both love, like I love a romance, oh my God, and a rom-com, and so did David, right? So we would talk about them all the time. Princess Bride and When Harry Met Sally and God, just Love and Basketball, just like all the best, just great comedies, but a lot of them never had people of color in them,
right? Or
like people of color were like sort of the sidekicks,
right?
David always says like, if there was like an Asian guy in there, he was always like the lab tech or the sonogram tech who's like, it was like, oh, it's a boy or it's a girl, like it's never the main character,
right?
And then the black girl is always like the sassy sidekick and just like telling the real truth or whatever, and I was like, what? I mean, people of color fall in love all the time.
Yeah.
Like, we star in our own stories.
Exactly.
And so we talked about that for years and years. And it wasn't until like we both gained some success in publishing that we were able to start really talking about it to people who could do something, right? So the former president of Random House Children's Books is this woman named Barbara Marcus. And she has been really great to me over the years. She's like just been a mentor. And I had been talking to her over the years just, about the way that we tell stories about people of color. And then in the summer of 2020, David and I pitched her this idea of Joy Revolution. And Joy Revolution is, an imprint. We publish love stories written by people of color, starring people of color, because I think the stories we tell about people of color have been traditionally very limited. Like we tell only one kind of story, right? And it's always a story of struggle. And we have to tell those stories because there is still struggle and there is still racism and there is still all the isms, right?
Right.
And so those stories are important. But what's also important is just the basic kissing love story.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Right. The story that says you can be anyone you want and you can get the boy or the girl or whoever, and you're just as worthy of being loved and loving. You can be vulnerable and beautiful and the klutz and the one that everyone turns their head to see when they walk into a room.
Exactly.
You can have all the things. And, you know, there can be a lot of kissing in these stories and they can just be swoony. And we wanted to tell those. And so we started Joy Revolution in 2020 and we've published many books now. We are only doing 6 books a year. And it's been great. It's been like a really, really wonderful experience. Like, you know, like when you get to call an author and say, yeah, we want to buy your book. Amazing experience, especially for first-time authors.
Right.
And just, you know, taking the chance that there were people of color who were writing these stories and that people would read them. Like we took that chance and it's paid off, right? Like people are buying them and people are writing them and that's been great to see.
And I'm wondering, what are some of the resources you provide to writers who are trying to get their story out into the world?
Yeah, so, you know, we're an imprint of Random House children's books, so we do only take agented submissions.
Right.
And so, you know, we publish our manuscript wish list. So we always are saying these are the stories we're looking for. And I think we're more willing to take a chance on debut authors, maybe than other imprints are, just because it's hard, right? Like we know that this is hard. So we're a very revision edit heavy imprint. So like we will, if someone submits something to us and it's not quite there, we'll say, hey, why don't you revise and resubmit? Like we do a lot of revise and resubmits to people and say like, we want to nurture you, but the story is not quite there yet. So, you know, David and I and our editor, whose name is Bria Ragan, like we're very like looking to nurture careers and not just like books, because there's a different, right? Like you can write a great book and that's fabulous. We want that.
Right.
But we also want someone whose career that we believe in. Like we believe that there's going to be a third fabulous book and a fourth fabulous book.
Right.
And so we want to be a part of that and to build them up as well. So we are we're a very author-friendly imprint because David and I are also authors. So we know how hard it is to be in publishing.
How have you and your husband's experiences and careers as authors influenced like how you run the company?
Yeah. Like, we're very, very author-friendly, right? Because also authors are crazy. Like, like they're just nuts. I mean, it's insecure and just really just bananas. But we understand because we are also nuts and bananas.
Yep.
And also we just know that it takes a while for things to gel. Right? Like the first draft is not the thing that you should ever publish.
No.
Right? Like you do need to revise it. And we're very understanding of that. We're very understanding of how weird it is to take something that's very private to you and put it into the world and have people write about it on Goodreads. Like, you know,
That's weird.
We do understand that whole thing. So I do think we bring that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to congratulate you on your upcoming novel that you just turned in, which I mean, is no easy feat. And that's incredible. You can do it so many times. And I mean, if I had to do that, I would have been like comatose for like a week.
This book tried to kill me, honestly. It really did.
And I know the details are still very much confidential because you just turned it in, but can you tell us what we can expect?
There's a lot of texting in it.
Ooh.
I think it's the most romantic book I've ever written. It is really romantic, even for me. Like,
Really?
because I am a romance dork. This one's pretty romantic. Yeah. It has a title, which I can't say. It almost has a cover. So next year, at some point, we'll reveal the cover of it.
I'm excited to learn more about it, and I'm also excited to read it, and I wish you the best of luck with everything.
Oh, thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah. I wanted to ask a few more questions just about your general process as a writer and your philosophy, your career in general, and just insights and values you have. What are some of the things and people that inspire you writing a story or just in your creative process in general?
Well, I mean, I think I said that I'm like a people person, like a people watcher, right? So I'm just interested in people. Like I'm really just curious about other people's lives and their interior lives. I mean, like there's another whole human being who's experiencing the same thing you are, except for they're experiencing it in a completely different way. So I really find that interesting. I love language. Like a good sentence is just a thing of beauty. Like, the poets are crazy. Like I read a lot of poetry, and the poets are out of their minds. They're so precise, and they will spend a year on the perfect word, which I really respect. I find that very, very inspiring. I'm like reading Bright Dead Things by Ada Limon right now.
Wow.
And this woman is out of her, I can't understand. I don't understand how she does it. So, I mean, I'm just intensely curious about people. I love language. I love the way you can go on a journey with one sentence,
Right.
You can start one place and end another. And it really matters the order of the words. Like, it's obnoxious that's a dumb thing to say, but really, really, truly matters the way you write a sentence to the feeling. Like you can convey the same information, but you can say it in 1,000 different ways. And so that is challenging and maddening, but also kind of great.
Yeah, the best thing and also the worst thing about being the writer is that syntax and emphasis and every single word, if you even like change it slightly, it'll change the entire meaning. And when I say this to people who aren't writers, like, you're crazy. Like, no, it doesn't. This sounds the same. It doesn't. No. It has a whole different feel. There's like a whole different like set of...
And you can hear it, right?
Yeah,
you can hear the rhythm of it in your head, like the music of it. Like, I will like take out and copy it. So you can get rid of this word. I'm like, you could get rid of that word, but then it wouldn't sound the same. So no, that word stays.
I mean, there's also this, I've seen this, a lot of writers online do this trend where they'll have a sentence, but then they'll put the emphasis on different words. Yeah. Like one of my favorites is, you lied to me. Like, you lied to me, you lied to me, you lied to me, and you lied to me. And every single one of those sentences has like a whole new subset of meanings.
Yes, it's maddening, right?
It's so maddening and it's so annoying, but it's also great.
Yeah, because when you get the perfect sentence, you're like, all right, good. Now I can move on to the next sentence.
What gets you through a rough patch in your writing, like writer's block? I mean, which I definitely experience, but what do you do to get through that?
Everyone always laughs when I say this, but I actually play violent video games. So I like a first-person shooter.
Oh, wow.
So I play video games. Like I just take my mind away from writing. It's
right.
Because for me, it's because I get writer's block when I'm A, burnt out, or B, when I've made my characters do the thing that they're not supposed to do.
Right.
It's just something, like I wrote a wrong thing. Like something's not true. Like the character wouldn't do that thing. And the only solution, honestly, is to like delete. Like until you get back to
kill your darlings.
Yeah, so you just got to hit delete.
It's so painful.
It's very painful. But it's the only way through. So I play a lot of video games. I go for walks, and I hit the delete button to get through writer's block. Yeah.
It's a scary button, but it's a really useful button.
Yeah, because otherwise you'll never get to the end. If you don't edit it and like get back to it, you'll never get to the end.
It's like the big red button everybody's afraid to press.
Yeah, but you got to press it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there a specific location that you enjoy writing in or you find that you write better in?
I have a home office, so I'm mostly in there.
Right.
I have this beautiful desk that I never use because I'm always on the couch. Like the couch in my office is where I sit. I usually have tea next to me.
Ooh.
If I'm revising, I have kettle corn next to me because kettle corn is the best.
Yeah.
I listen to rain sounds, just like static rain, like thunder in my ear. And that's it.
Has living in different areas around the world, like Jamaica, Brooklyn, Los Angeles, has that influenced your writing at all? And if so, how?
Yeah, there are not many books about Los Angeles, I have noticed.
Yeah.
Like every book takes place in New York. Like on the East Coast. And so I have made it my mission to set books in LA now. So I set Instructions for Dancing and One of Our Kind. And my new book is also in Los Angeles because I feel like it doesn't get enough love. So in a very practical way, that's the difference living in LA has made. Like getting to know the city, I have definitely started writing about the city. I mean, just in the ways that being in different parts of the world influences what you've seen and the types of people you see. David and I and Penny try to do a lot of traveling. This new book, the boy is English.
Ooh.
And David and I took a sabbatical with Penny a couple of years ago. We spent the entire summer in England. And so I had English boys in my head, like just the cadence of the way they speak and all this stuff. And so like that's just a real influence, right? I was there and I know how they sound, and so I just put this boy in the book.
This is a big question.
Go on.
But why do you tell stories?
You know, it's strange because I'm so far into this career and no one has ever asked me why I tell stories.
Really?
I mean, it's very, very selfish. Like, it is just who I am. It is,
right.
Like, I am a grumpy person if I'm not telling a story.
That's true.
Yeah.
Me
like
too.
I mean, people have these very lofty things that they say. I tell it for like, oh, and I'm like, no, I'm just miserable if I'm not doing it. Like, that's the primary reason. And then there are all these other reasons on top. But primarily, it is literally who I am. Like, Nicola Yoon tells stories. That's just how I am. And that if I'm not doing it, I'm kind of grumpy and hard to be around. And then on top of that is just this impulse, this drive to like know people. Like I'm just really curious. I just really want to know, and I want to tell the truth about them. And I want to tell a story that gets at something, gets at some sort of question that I have. And I feel like a lot of people have the same questions. You know, like about, you know, the books about love are really about, is it worth it? Like. Yeah. I mean, I ask that question over and over again. Like, you know, why do we do this? And like, why do we put ourselves in these positions to be vulnerable? And then sometimes why do we not put ourselves in it? Because it's a beautiful thing, right? So it's just like a drive to know certain things about people. But fundamentally, it's because I'm a grump if I don't do it.
Something I've noticed about a lot of your books is that they're all basically standalones. And I'm curious, is that intentional? Why or why not? And would you ever consider continuing or writing a sequel to one of your books?
No, like the question I get the most, like in the last 12 or however many years I've been writing now, is like, am I going to write a sequel to Everything, Everything?
Really?
And the answer is absolutely not. I never will. Because then I have to break them up. I don't want to break them up because otherwise it's 300 pages of kissing.
Yeah.
No one wants to read 300 pages of kissing. I guess I just don't. I haven't thought of this world. I have these people. And then when I get to the end, they're off in their lives and I don't really have anything else to say about them. Like I know where I think they are, but I don't have anything else, another story to tell. Interestingly, sometimes I think maybe the sun is also a star. Maybe. Like I have kind of an idea. We'll see. And then for One of Our Kind, I might have an idea. And when I say might, is I totally do have an idea. And we'll see what happens.
Oh my gosh, please. The ending, I was like bawling at the end of One of Our Kind. I was like, no.
Well, you know, there is a hint on that last page that there is another story there, but people miss it. You know, like there is a line, I think she says, maybe she'll remember one day or something like that.
Oh, yes, I remember that. And I was like, Nicola, I know what you're doing there.
Right. Yes. But you and like 2 other people have seen that.
Yeah.
Because no one else gets it.
I also think it's interesting, the ending scene of One of Our Kind. It's like she gazes at the television and she doesn't remember. And it's like that not remembering is so interesting. And it's so like, are we sure she doesn't remember or is it being suppressed?
Right. I mean, yeah. I can't say anything, but yeah.
What do you hope your audience takes away from your work?
Yeah, I mean, I think so much of the work is just about like a question that I have. And I'm hoping that the audience is along with me for the ride, for the exploration. I don't know if I have a specific thing I want people to take so much as I want them to ask questions about and to be curious along with me. You know, I mean, the love stories, I obviously really believe in love and I do think it's transformative and I do think it's the thing that makes the world go round and I want people to pay attention to it. Like I want you to realize how much you have in common with the person you think you have nothing in common with. You know, like so my husband, David, is Korean American and people always think, oh, how did you guys meet? Or as if it's like, and how are you together? You know, like, as if it's so weird, but actually I have the most in common with David than anyone I've ever met in my whole life. Like including like my family and like people who ostensibly look like me and all of this stuff.
Right.
But actually the person that I have the most in common with is, you know, a Korean American kid who was born in Texas. Right? So like I will need for people to know that can be, that we're all the same. I mean, it's so trite, but it's so true. Like, we're all the same. You think that you have nothing in common with people, but you have so much more than you think if you just stop and pay attention.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Thank you so much. I mean, honestly, that might have sparked an epiphany in my brain.
Oh,
We'll
good.
see about that.
Okay, good.
So let's do some lightning round questions.
Oh,
This is
God.
always, I
All
think,
right,
the
all right,
most fun
okay,
part of the
okay.
interview. So the format of this is quick question, quick answer, but it's never really a quick answer because we always go off on tangents.
Because writers are crazy.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Come on. And so the first question is, what is a food you refuse to eat?
Oh, God. Okra.
What?
Okra is disgusting. Slimy. Horrible. Oh, you love okra?
Okra. I like this.
It's like, well, I actually really like snails, but okra is like the worst version of a snail. It's disgusting.
So you like snails, but
Snails are
you don't like.
delicious. Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's my answer, and I'm sticking with
Okay.
it.
Okay. A food I refuse to eat is
Yes.
scallops.
Really?
Yeah, really.
They're so delicious.
Oh, they're like,
The texture is fabulous.
no, the texture is so gross. It feels like you're like chewing on like a dead body. Not that I would know what that tastes like, but it's like
you're so
still
funny.
alive and like gelatinous in the worst way possible.
God, I forced my publicist once to have oysters because she does not, and she's like, ew, it's like salty ocean boogers.
No, oysters are delicious, especially if you put like lemon on them.
Yeah, wait, you like oysters but not scallops?
No, scallop is so
Woman, this makes no sense to me.
just okra doesn't make sense to me. You like snails but not okra?
Yeah, because okra is the worst thing on earth.
Scallops are also the worst thing on earth.
All right, agree to disagree?
Okay, sure. And what is your favorite flavor of tea?
Tea, chamomile?
Me too, actually. I survived on chamomile for the entirety of finals week.
Yes, chamomile with lavender. Have you had
Ooh,
that?
I haven't, but I think I had it with honey and a little bit of lemon one time, and it made I had a sore throat, and it made my throat feel a lot better.
I love chamomile, and I've gotten Penny into teas. She's like a tea person now too.
Ooh, high tea at the Ritz.
Oh, the high tea at the Ritz was amazing.
Yeah, is that what got her into?
No, I mean I got her into it before because my mom is also a tea person, so this is like matrilinear, I guess. But high tea at the Ritz, you should do that.
Yeah, I also think something that is so great about chamomile tea specifically is that it's not caffeinated.
Yes.
So you can have it at any time of the day.
Yes, it's what I do when I can't have any more caffeine. I can't have any more coffee. Like I have so much chamomile tea in my house.
Wow, I'm gonna steal some. Did you go to sleepaway summer camps as a kid?
I did not. I was a really shy kid. I did not talk to people. I did not leave my house. You couldn't have sent me away. I would have cried. Do you go?
I do go, yeah. I actually, the first time I went to sleepaway camp, I was 11, and I called it the day I was supposed to get picked up for camp. I was so scared. I called it Doomsday.
Oh,
Yeah.
How long did you go for the entire summer?
I
or-
actually went for a week the first time, and then I thought I had so much fun. I was like, we're doing it again. And it's now just been like a running joke in my family where we'll call it like Doomsday, and then Doomsday the sequel, and then Doomsday, this one's personal, like every year.
That's funny. Yeah.
During a standing ovation, are you usually like the first one to stand up, or are you on the later side?
It depends.
Yeah.
Like it depends on the thing.
Exactly.
I just saw a show at my kid's school and it was amazing and I was up right away.
Right.
And then sometimes then you're like, this was good. Maybe not standing ovation good, but if everyone else is standing, you sort of feel the pressure and you're like, all right, I guess I'm standing up now.
Yeah. I remember I was in New York and I saw this incredibly heartwarming and moving show called Maybe Happy Ending. It was
Oh, someone just told me to see that.
so good.
Really?
It's
Yeah.
at there was like a little bit of like it's about two robots falling in love, and that's like a little like, oh, that's interesting, but it truly is at the heart of it just like a simple love story, and it made basically everybody in my family cry. Like my dad, who's like he doesn't really cry. He
Very stoic.
He not like stoic. He's very silly.
Yeah.
But he doesn't cry
Yeah.
when he watches things. So like getting him to cry is like
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not like a sap. I usually try to be on the earlier side, but then I'm always like, but no one else is doing it. I feel weird if I'm like standing up. Yeah.
It's hard if like no one else is doing it.
Do you like dark chocolate better or milk chocolate better?
Dark chocolate is evil.
Dark Chocolate is not evil.
Yes. Like, do you like this super bitter?
No.
Oh.
No, I need sweetness. I don't have just one sweet tooth. I have like sweet teeth. But I like both.
Yeah.
But I think it really just depends because I think a lot of milk chocolate is not made very well these days. So I think
A lot of milk chocolate actually doesn't have much chocolate.
it's just milk.
Yeah, and it's just like artificial. But the real stuff is good.
I don't like bitter dark chocolate.
70% cacao,
I
whatever.
mean, I like 70%, but
that is so much.
but
That is
like,
a very high percentage.
I think if it's too much dark chocolate, it gets like acidic, almost like coffee.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be a treat. It's not
Yeah.
supposed to be painful.
What is like a random trivia fact that you know?
That I know?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Something about arsenic used to be in paint.
Is that lead?
No, there was lead in paint, but also something about arsenic maybe in wallpaper. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they did crazy stuff back then, so.
What's yours?
Mine is that there used to be actually, on a similar note of poison, there's actually in cherry pits, there's cyanide. There's like a very small percentage of cyanide.
How many cherry pits would I have to eat to die?
Do you eat cherry pits?
No. But how many would it take to kill me? Like could you swallow them and then it breaks down and the cyanide gets into you? Or do you have to crush them?
You know, I actually don't know. That's too much trivia for me.
Right, sorry.
What is your favorite amusement park ride?
Oh, God. I love a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And I made it my mission when Penny was younger to make sure that she loves roller coasters because I was like, we are a roller coaster family.
Right.
And so I used to take her on the Mickey Mouse roller coaster at Disneyland, just when she was really teeny to get her into it. And now she loves a roller coaster
That's
too.
great.
What's yours?
I know this is crazy, but I really like the free falling drop thing. I hate how it makes me feel, but then it's so much fun. It's like
awesome.
a love-hate relationship.
There's there's a Star Wars ride. One of the newer ones at Disneyland that there is a drop when you're escaping Darth Vader or whatever.
Oh, cool.
And there's a huge drop in it. And your tummy does that thing where it feels like it's in your throat.
I actually heard I guess this is another trivia fact, but apparently when you feel it, it's actually because your organs are moving a little bit inside.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. You are full of trivia facts.
I guess so. They're just coming out of me. Do you like jeans better or sweatpants better?
Oh, jeans.
Yeah, I used to be more of a sweatpants person. I was like, you would never catch me dead in jeans. They're so uncomfortable. And now I'm more of a jeans person,
Okay,
actually.
can I just have a mini rant?
Yeah.
I am so over the leisure wear, everywhere. Everyone is wearing athletic wear. I think it started in COVID, and I'm advocating for people to be more like Paris. Put on clothes so people watch fashionable people.
Yeah.
We were in Paris over the summer and everyone was so fashionable, just walking around. And I was and I got so many ideas for outfits. And
Yeah, me too.
there's too much plush, comfortable clothing here. People need to dress up again. All right,
Yeah.
That's my rant over.
I used to be a huge sort of comfy sweats. You would never catch me dead, dressing fancy for most of the time. And then I basically I was about to hop on an airplane.
Yeah.
I mean, I think leisure wear on airplanes, I think that's really
fine.
That's fine. But I think now I'm I don't really want to look like I'm about to hop on a plane every day.
I'm telling you, you can look nice and also be comfy. Those things can coincide.
Exactly. There's soft jeans, but you know what? Okay. Do you currently own any stuffed animals?
Yes.
Me too.
How many do you have?
That's actually a really great question. I don't know the answer to that question.
Do you sleep with them?
Yes. I used to put them under the bed so that they wouldn't get cold.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's
Yeah.
so sweet. Penny has, and we do too, and we sleep with them. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cute. I have one of them that's an ugly doll. It's that's actually the name of the brand. It's called Ugly Doll. And mine is called Whippy.
Whippy?
Yeah, Whippy. She's so cute. And she's pink and she has little bunny ears. And I've had her since I was 6. And I spoon her when I sleep. And
That's what Penny does too.
Yeah.
She has a jaguar and a goat named Gigi that she's had since she was very, very tiny.
It's so cute.
I have a little horse that we call Shortcake that I cuddle at night.
It's so cute. What is your favorite kind of weather?
I love the fall I love like a day when it's just a little bit too cold and a little bit too windy. Not cold, but like cool. And like the fall leaves are blowing. I used to live
Right.
in New England, and I loved leaf peeping season when all the leaves change and you like go for a walk and it's just like a little blustery.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite kind. What's yours? Like rainy?
I honestly, I like all kinds of weather. I appreciate rain, but then sometimes I'm like, but I want to like have my main character in a rom-com moment where I'm
Yeah.
like running through the rain to get to like,
Right. To
yeah,
the
exactly.
person,
So
yeah.
I think every kind of weather. I also think it depends on my mood because I was at sleepaway camp and it was raining and it was so cold because it was in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't know it was possible for it to get this cold ever.
Yeah.
And then all my friends, because it was the East Coast, they were all like, this is a normal
This is
day.
not normal,
And I'm
yeah.
like, this is so cold.
I was away camping a few weeks ago and it was raining and we were in like one of those camper vans, whatever. And
Right.
it's just really loud with the rain. And it was really kind of magical actually
Yeah.
because it just feels like you're in a different world.
The thumping of the rain is like
Yeah.
very relaxing. It's
Yeah.
like ASMR almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the last question of the lightning round questions, what advice would you give to your younger self if you could travel back in time?
Well, I guess, you're going to find, like, I was always looking for, like, love, I think. Not like, I had a lot of love, but I was always looking for that thing where I would just feel like these are my people. And, like, I am, like, and I never thought I would find them. I guess I would just tell her, you're going to find them. And it's going to be great. Like, they're going to be, they're going to make you feel complete. So quit worrying about it all the time.
Aw,
Yeah.
it's really sweet.
Yeah.
And before we wrap up, I wanted to ask if there was an organization that was near and dear to your heart. Stories Without Borders is an organization that would love to amplify anything that you care about because we just believe in the power of stories and service and promoting that through connection, empathy, and understanding. So we, again, love to amplify anything that you care about.
Yeah, we love the organization Food on Foot.
I love Food on Foot.
Yes,
It's an incredible
yeah,
organization.
It's a great organization. So we volunteer some Sundays, like handing out food. And Food on Foot, their mission is to feed unhoused people and
Yes.
also to get them employed and get them back into housing. And so we're big supporters of theirs. And I think that especially in today's world, we can feel so disconnected, especially at the national level, like the national politics. And
Right.
you feel like you can't change anything. But actually, if you're in your neighborhood very locally, you can change something. And you go on a Sunday and you help feed people and you talk to them and you be kind for a few hours. And you remember that the world is smaller than you think.
Yeah.
And that you can help and everything isn't so terrible. It's like, so it's, you not only are you giving back, you're giving something to yourself. Too. Like, you remember that we're human and you can change some things, Yeah.
That's really beautifully said. Thank you so much for coming onto this podcast, Nicola. I'm really just so honored to have had this incredible interview with you. And
You are fabulous. Totally amazing. Your questions are great. When I was your age, I knew nothing. I did nothing. So I'm so impressed and amazed by you. I can't even tell you. Thank you for having me. I really had fun.
Thank you. I did too. Thanks for listening to Stories Without Borders, the podcast. Please rate and review the show on your favorite podcast platform. You can learn more online at storieswithoutborders.org or follow us on Instagram at stories_without borders. See you all next time.